Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and Discoveringbands.com. And for everyone watching, be sure this video on my channel. I'm helping support the awesome bands I feature. And today I'm here with Planetdamage. How you doing today?
Pretty great, thank you. How about you?
Great, great. It's great to have you here. And you want to start off and give us a little history about the project?
Sure thing. First of all, thanks for having me on the show. So Planetdamage actually started out something like 6 years ago. I'm in Budapest, Hungary. And all my life I was interested in EBM and electro-industrial, all sorts of weird experimental stuff. And I think the time was just ripe to start making music. And I've done an album and a number of EPs. The album Relapse Protocol was released 2 years ago on Angel Spit's label Black Pill, Red Pill. And I'm pretty much interested in making music and sort of spreading a lot of stuff about the state of technology, our current views on the future. And I like doing that, involving a number of musicians, either remixing them or they remixing me or cooperating with them.
I love the background. It's got that industrial vibe and feel.
Thanks so much.
I want to say with the album Relapse Protocol, what made you do a follow-up remix EP of it?
Oh man. So the thing with the remix EP was that I created this this album as sort of a mixtape, which is a long story in itself. And when you create a mixtape like that, you have a lot of different elements just floating, still on your hard drive. And there were a lot of different ideas. And when I finished doing the album, which is sort of a weird thing in itself, because you don't finish music at all. You have to release it. But it's always that sort of thing when it's pretty much unfinished. And I often do feel that it's still unfinished. It still wants to evolve. So there were a lot of different ideas still floating up in the air, and I was like, okay, I need to have a release where I can take those ideas and spread it to a number of great musicians and artists I wanted to work with, or previously I've talked about working with them in the future. And I just wanted to give them the chance to sort of evolve those ideas or reiterate them, and I wanted to hear their takes on how the future would actually sound like. And a couple of months passed, and bam, the remix EP was released. And I don't know what you thought about it. I personally had this very good sense of achievement with it, that it's very diverse in terms of sound and the punchiness of it all.
No, I liked it. It gives a different feel to the songs and different vibe, and I liked how it was done.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, man. And thanks in the name of all the remixing artists as well.
And what are you currently working on now?
Oh my God. So there's a number of things, obviously. This is still on the hard drive thing, lots of ideas there. There are a number of more dancey songs that I would love to finish, and there's an ambient album-ish, an ambient release in the works. It's been sort of floating there for quite a while, but whenever it comes to ambient, you sort of have to be in the mood to finish it. And I don't necessarily think that in the past year or so I was pretty much in that mindset. But there are a lot of ideas floating. I'm still getting back there to that thing. So maybe there's 1 or 2 different releases in the making, and I do have to sort of make a reference. One of my side projects, Sanity Checks, which we do with Brian of the Gothsicles, who's on your show previously. And there's this Lovecraft and Cthulhu related sort of a non-serious take on all that thing. And we'd love to do another release. So there's a bunch of, half-finished tracks and ideas still in the big hat of darkness.
Awesome. Now, you as an artist, what would you say makes like a really good, solid industrial album?
Oh my God, this is a hard question. What makes a good industrial album? Okay, sound would be one thing, meaning/message would be the other. Personally, I would say that I love concept albums and concept releases. So whenever it comes to, what is the best industrial LP or what is the strongest in terms of impact, to me personally, they were concept albums. Frontline Assembly's Tactical Neural Implant was one, a classic. Pattern Recognition by Headscan, for example, and these are very homogeneous in sense of message and in terms of sound as well. So I would believe that this is one thing, and that's a pretty good question in the sense that you might have an amazing piece of album, but if it's not promoted on the right channels, it's going to sink. And it might pop back or float back to the surface a couple of months or years later, but maybe it's not going to have the same kind of impact as it could have done when it was released. Or maybe it's going to have an even bigger impact because it's going to resonate with the circumstances better. So I don't know. What would your thoughts be about about the perfect industrial release or album?
Well, there's no perfect album, but definitely something that moves me, gets me thinking, has a good message, clear sounds. Each track is a little diverse. It's not all the same. It's like put together where it's like the track order, I think, matters, the way you place the tracks. So
it does.
A lot goes into it, I feel like.
There's one more thing I think, which is a bit of novelty to it, because when it comes to having a great album, that is probably something you wanna chew for a long time, or digest it for a long time. And whenever it's about having that piece of extra thing, most probably related to arrangement or sound design, probably that's going to be something that gives a whole lot more than other albums do.
Yeah, definitely. Now, people want to look you up online on social media, find your music. How do they do that?
They have to Google Planetdamage. That's one word. And I'm on Bandcamp. So if you want to support the project, listening to it or buying some releases, most of my stuff is pay what you want though. So if you want to get some teasers, feel free to do that. Also, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, obviously. So, I think and also there's planetdamage.com. So feel free to just browse around.
And I want to ask, how did the name Planetdamage come to be?
So here's the thing. When I started being online, Damage was the nickname that I was using. And previously, I was the chief editor for one of Hungary's biggest alternative social media websites. This is, still between 2001 and 2008. And I wanted to do a personal website, which is not, community related. And I was, damage.com, that was taken already. So I was like, okay, I need to pick something else. And I pretty much loved gaming back in the days. I still do, but I didn't have enough time. And I loved the Unreal games, first-person shooter games. And there was this series of websites that were related to gaming, and they all began with Planet. So there was Planet Warcraft, there was Planet Hungary, and I was like, yay, Planetdamage doesn't sound that bad. Maybe I could just have that website. Turned out it wasn't taken, so I registered it, and the name sort of stuck with me, and it became my social media handle ever since then. Not entirely sure that's the best nickname / handle / band name ever, but you know, when it sticks with you, you just have to go and roll with it.
Yeah, it's a cool name.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Now, do you have some artists you might want to collaborate with in the future?
Oh my God, there's a lot of them. There's the list is too long, and one of the most crucial things I believe is important with collaboration is that it shouldn't be an artist that is necessarily working in the same style or the same genre, because you know, if we have very different opinions about music or how a good sound or a good chorus sounds like, then we can both learn from each other and from the process. So it is going to be a whole lot more interesting. So working with artists who have a very different take on music than me, for example, would be a great thing. I know. Yeah, so working with ambient musicians, for example, that would be a very interesting thing. Working with electro-punk artists, for example, would be a very interesting thing. Some hardcore heavy riffers from the metal scene, that would be awesome. So I couldn't necessarily say specific bands, but I could pretty much point at different genres. That, you know, that sort of vibe is something I would love to do a lot. Like, for example, I would love to work with guitars. So that's just one thing I would like to put out there.
Yeah, definitely get a different vibe and a different style to the music.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to what you have coming up in the future, and it was good talking with you. And everybody, look him up.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime.
Rock.
For everyone watching, I've linked his music in the video description, so check that out.